So my kids are making fun of me because I have a lot of email accounts. They're like, why do you have so many email addresses? I'm like, every adult has at least 10 email addresses, right? And they're going down the list, they're naming each one, chuckling as they go. And one in particular that they honed in on was the email address I use for selling beats, which is platinumtips2002 at yahoo.com. Shameless plug. Holla at me if you need a beat. And my youngest asked me, he was like, so have you really had this email address since 2002? And I'm like, yeah, because I sold my first beat. Like, because in 2002, that's when I sold my first beat. And it hit me. It's like, I've been selling beats for half my life. Like, I'm 36 years old now, and I sold my first beat when I was 18 in high school. So yeah, literally, I've been selling beats for half my life. I was like, wow, that's amazing. What a milestone. Like, I'm grateful for the longevity that I've had in music production because, I mean, the music industry is not kind. In a lot of ways, it's not forgiving. It's very trendy. A lot of people come and go. So I'm grateful to still be here doing what I love, doing it as a viable source of income. And if it wasn't for all the artists who have supported me over the years buying beats, like, I wouldn't be able to do this full time. So I'm grateful for everyone who has supported me over the years. Like, I've literally been making beats over the span of 4 decades. Like, I started in the late 90s, in 99, and it's 2020 now. So yeah, 4 decades I've been producing music. But I think what's even more striking to me than all of those things is the fact that I started from nothing. Like, I didn't have any equipment, I didn't have any connections. And one day I'll go through a lot of this stuff because it will really blow your mind, like how God weaved a lot of these things together in my life. But like, I didn't have any equipment, any connections. All I had was a dream and a bunch of ideas. Like, I started wanting to make music right after I got saved at the age of 14. And I had this desire to make music after seeing a guy at a youth retreat rap. And I was like, I want to make songs like what he just performed, at this youth retreat. And so I didn't know where to start. Like, I started with a boombox, and I use it as a karaoke machine, and I'm rapping over No Limit beats. Fiend was one of my favorite artists, so I'm rapping over one of his beats. And I'm like, well, eventually I need my own production. Like, I kind of figured like I need my own stuff, like original content. And so I didn't have a producer or anything. I'm like, where do I even go? And so my brother, saw that I picked up making music as a hobby, and he had actually reconnected with somebody that we went to school with. My brother's 8 years older than me, and this guy that he reconnected with named Sean Kinney, shout out to him. He had just started a studio called Hitmaker Music, 32-track studio, state of the art, had all the bells and whistles. I mean, I would take that studio today. Like, it smashes what I had. Although he was charging like $50 to $75 an hour for studio time, he allowed me to come at a fraction of the price. Like, I only had to pay $25 an hour for studio time. And I'm super grateful for him for that. But to be honest, like, that was even a stretch. Because I'm in high school and I don't have a job. So I'm like, how am I gonna get, like, $25 only gets me an hour. But I'm like, yo, I'll get what I can with whatever I can scrape up. And so I figured if I save my lunch money every day for a month, I can go to the studio for 2 hours a month. So I started doing that. Like, I saved my lunch money, made what I could with those 2 hours. I made the most of what I had. My mom eventually realized, like, you need to eat lunch. Like, you can't be doing this to yourself. So she gave me a budget. Like, I would be able to go to the studio for like 2 to 4 hours a month. She would pay for that. And I was super grateful. And I made the most with that time. But eventually that studio shut down. Like, I was really sad about it because it got robbed. And I was like, man, like, where I'm gonna go? Like, how I'm gonna make music? So I'm looking through the yellow pages, and I found a studio called MVP Studios that actually was right across the street from Hitmaker, which was crazy. So then they had a lot of the same equipment that I had learned how to make beats on. Like Sean had taught me how to use the MPC 2000, and they had an MPC 2000, thank God. So the transition was pretty smooth, and I'm making beats over there. Eventually, I was able to make my first album, Threat to Society, and right after I made that album, I started to get a little buzz, like just very, very small buzz online. But this guy named PCP, you might have heard me collaborate with him a few times on some of the earlier compilations that I dropped, Certified Street Bangers and Serious Series Volume 1. He had hit me up and he was like, yo, like, do you sell beats? And I was like, no, but I mean, I'm sure we could make something happen. And so he paid me basically to go to the studio and make some beats, and that's how I started selling beats, which is just crazy to think. Like he was really who got me started selling beats because of the demand. I was like, yo, I can meet the demand. You know, I like shoes, you know, so I'm trying to buy some shoes. But eventually, like, that studio also, like, it didn't shut down, but like some things that happened to where I wasn't able to go there anymore. And so what's crazy is I didn't have my own equipment from 99 until 2006. So for 7 years, first 7 years, I was either renting studios or borrowing equipment from churches or different people I knew so I could, you know, make beats. But I was like, you know, if I really want to do this music thing seriously, like, I need to be able to get my own equipment. So my dude, MC Till, I did an album with him called Black Guy Meets White Man. He was like, yo, I know it's not much, but I'll give you $2,000 to buy whatever equipment you can. And so went to Sam Ash, and I was able to get a brand new MPC 1000, and then I bought a used Yamaha Motif 6. And with that equipment, I actually made the beat for Air Jordan. I made Got Paper by Lecrae, and I made Hold On by Flame and countless other beats. So definitely was a good investment. But still was a bare bones operation. Like, I think about my setup, like I was mixing music, like I was mixing my first songs, and a lot of the beats that I was making, I was mixing it on a bass amp. Like, actually, I borrowed the bass amp from the church, and then I had to return that. And then my wife, once I got married to my wife Sade, like, she had a bass amp from her bass guitar that she got for her birthday. I was using that for studio monitors because I just didn't have it in my budget at the time to buy studio monitors. And so I'm mixing my music with a bass amp on the floor. And I didn't have software, like I didn't have Pro Tools. I had this thing called Sound Recorder. Like, that's the only thing I had. And Sound Recorder was a 1-track recorder where you could record, like, it was good for like when I recorded my beats onto the computer, but I couldn't do multi-tracks on the computer. And so, like, for instance, like when I made the beat for Lecrae, he needed multi-tracks so that they could mix the beat professionally. And so literally I recorded every sound one by one into the computer in real time. I would cut all the dead space from the beginning because I didn't have the software to align all the tracks into one session. Like, I was doing this blindly, just hoping that everything would line up when I sent it to him. And you think about it, like, I had sounds in there like that didn't start on the 1. Like, the sounds that start on the 1 were easy. But then you had other sounds like the clap and the snare that don't start on the 1, they start on the 2. And so what I did to make sure those lined up was I would record the metronome for the first, like, I'd do a count off. So it'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the first click of the first measure, I would keep in there just so that the mixing engineer knew where the track started, so where the clap starts. And they probably could have got it on beat, but I just wanted everything to be as professional as I could. Like, I didn't have much, but I wanted to do what I could with what I had. And so and Reach hit me back, or Lecrae hit me back, like, yo, everything sounds great, and the track came out dope, and I was just super grateful. Like, God can take the little you have and he can multiply. Like, I think about 5 fish, 2 loaves, like, and Jesus broke the bread, and he broke the fish, and he multiplied it. And I think he does the same with us in our lives. Like, we may not have much, but he'll take the little we have and he will make the most of it, in Jesus' name. So I just want to encourage you, like you may not have a lot. You may be like, man, I wish I had this and that. But I'm telling you, like, use what you have, use what you can get a hold of. And I'm telling you, like, God can maximize that thing. Don't be discouraged. And even still to this day, like, I mean, I have a lot more equipment since I first started. Like, I've invested over $15,000 in the studio that I have now, but there's still things that I wish I had. But I'm gonna make the most out of what I have, and then I'm gonna level up when I can. I'm not gonna worry about what I don't have. I'm gonna utilize what I do have. And so I encourage you today, like, make the most of what you have and level up when you can.